Mailbag time. We got the Fantasy Cops a little bit later. We have actually 5 Fantasy Cops cases scheduled for today's show. I do not like this development, though, from Schneier. I don't like the new camera angle.
No, it's terrible.
Why is it so bad?
Go back to embrace the stink. Go back to the bathroom. Go back to the toilet look. I mean,
I confirmed before moving angles with Jamie that it still would make me look like I was in a bathroom on a toilet. So I'm still, I didn't change the chair angle, so you still can't see the chair. I'm blocking the chair. It still looks like enough of a toilet. What I have to do is really embrace it though and throw in a little toilet roll right there. So I'm still working on that.
You should, man. You should put Lysol back there, whatever. I mean, really, you should just go for it. I love it.
Do you know that we discovered that you stole Fantasy Cops from somebody?
Oh no, Adam. First of all, I don't believe that. Who was it?
No, just the look on your face was worth it.
No, garbage. And stealing. I remember it used to be the fantasy regulators.
He's still dealing with the backlash from stealing Christopher Harris's plant flag earlier. So he's still dealing with a lot of backlash from that.
He does plant your flag players. I was doing plant your flag or tape.
I almost, but to avoid
don't do semantics it.
To avoid the poop storm that you were going to deal with. When I was giving you credit for your Josh Reynolds last night, I was going to say kudos to Adam Azer for talking about Josh Reynolds for a month. He really planted his flag on that guy.
I have a new nickname for the Vikings. I had my 3 sons for the Vikings for Madison, Addison, and Hawkinson. But someone said you forgot about Jefferson. So how about, I know, pathetic, right? How about Sons of Anarchy? That's what we can refer to the Vikings as. They got 4 sons. Jefferson. I mean, that's a little weird, right? Jefferson, Addison, Madison, Hawkinson.
Were there 4 main characters in Sons of Anarchy?
Sure.
Yeah, I knew you didn't know that one. So
I've seen it. But yeah, you got the guy from Braveheart. You got Jax. You got the guy from
You've seen Sons of Anarchy, but you haven't seen Friday Night Lights.
All right, let's read some emails and podcast questions here. Apple Podcast questions. This comes from Dan in a small town in New York.
Toilet Town.
Yeah. I had both Chris Godwin and Mike Evans fall to me in a 14-team PPR league. I couldn't help but take them at the time. Should I try to unload one, even though I feel I've got a strong team, or write out the stack? If so, who should I try to get rid of, Godwin or Evans?
Got to go with Dan on the unloading question. So, Dan, what would you
do? Yeah, I would get rid of Evans in this regard. Actually, you know what? I take that back. I think you're going to get more back for Godwin, and I don't feel like there's enough of a difference season long, and someone might actually trade for Godwin if they're in a bad spot, a receiver due to injuries, especially if this is half PPR or PPR. So I'd actually look to move Godwin.
PPR.
I would disagree with that. For me, I would actually wait this week if you can. And I expect both guys to have actually a decent game because while I do expect the Vikings secondary to improve, I'd like to see it first. And I think if both guys have a good game, then the trade value goes up for both of them. But I would rather trade Evans specifically for what Dan said. I think you would get more in return for Godwin. But I think if Evans does go off, like you could see, I would never do this, but you could see, as we were talking about on Friday morning, the potential of somebody getting panicked about Jahmyr Gibbs, and maybe you have a Gibbs and something Gibbs for Mike Evans and something, and you might get something pretty good in return for Evans.
Yeah, just be careful because we could have said, well, if you want to trade Sky Moore, you should do it after week 1 because Kelsey's out and this and that. I mean, if Godwin and Evans have bad games against the Vikings, their trade value is going to go flush right down the toilet.
That is a great point, but I would counter with that and say Sky Moore and Mike Evans are not the same. One guy has yet to do it. One guy has certainly proven it time and time again.
Well, I know, but it was the point is they could easily have good games. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
All right. This one is from Dark Wrestler 4. Dear George, Gerald, Ulysses, and Franklin.
Ulysses Grant. That's the only Ulysses I know.
These have got to be presidents.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you think any of the Panthers wide receivers will make an impact in fantasy this season?
Yes. There'll be some weeks where, Adam Thielen or hopefully DJ Chark and maybe the Mingo 8-year baby have some good moments.
Ooh, I'm going to definitely steal that as a team name since I don't creatively come up with my own, and Adam doesn't like that about me. But I do like that one a lot. But I would bet on Mingo. I think if you're looking at that receiver core and you're looking at this pass game overall, the concerns for me are, will this offensive line hold up enough for a consistent pass game at any point this season? And I think as they go on through the season, there will be improvement on the O-line, and we'll start to see the passing game create a little bit more, but I think it will run through Mingo at that point, or at least that's the player I would want to bet on having the most consistency in fantasy. Thielen, to me, I feel like that's an injury waiting to happen, if not just bad production coming out of it. Chark is interesting, but I don't know if he perfectly fits into what Bryce Young's skill set is, so I would bet on Mingo.
Okay, this is from adjacent to Naperville. I need 2 in a flex. Pirine, Mostert, Elijah Moore, Nico Collins, or Romeo Dobbs. Pirine, Mostert, Elijah Moore, Nico Collins, or Romeo Dobbs.
Mostert to start for me.
Mostert is the easy one.
Yeah.
It comes down to Pirine versus is Romeo Dobbs the guy in Green Bay because Christian Watson is out. So if Watson plays, I would go with Pirine. If Watson is out, I would go with Dobbs. But I also wouldn't rule out Elijah Moore because I think he could have a decent game as well against the Bengals in the game of the week. But yeah, I think it's between Dobbs and Pirine. Dan, you missed one of the most. I don't even know what the right word, like awkward.
What Adam do? What Adam do?
No, so Adam texts me right before the show starts. We have our game of the week shtick with Dave. So Adam texts me right before the show starts on Friday morning and says, "When I say Joe Burrow is playing Baltimore, don't correct me." I want to see what Dave says. So
I said, I'm hoping Dave jumps in and corrects me, and then
great. So he's trying to trap our employees. I got it.
Yeah, then I was going to do the game. I wanted him to say no. He's playing the Browns, and then I was going to, smash game of the week.
So Dave doesn't catch the mistake, and he just starts to, no, of course I'm playing Joe Burrow. And then Adam goes, so you're playing Joe Burrow against the Ravens. And then Dave freezes. His internet freezes. So he's stuck. And so now Adam's like trying not to giggle. Like I'm just looking down because I'm starting to laugh too. And I want Dave to see me. And Adam's just like starting to laugh. And so he's like, basically like, so Dave, against the Ravens.
I think I asked him 3 or 4 times if he liked Burrow against the Ravens, and he's like, "What am I going to do? I'm going to sit Joe Burrow?" Anyway, next one is from the Ego, formerly known as Joel. Best comedy of the 80s continued. This is something that Jamie asked, and I said cheers. Joel says Perfect Strangers. Adam is Larry Appleton, and Dave, Heath, Jamie, and Dan all come together like Voltron to form the wildly unpredictable fantasy football version of Balky.
Balky Bartakamus.
Yeah. Not even gonna pretend like I've ever heard of this movie.
It's a show.
It's a show. There we
go. This is from Chucky Buckle. A friend asked me to join a league at the last hour or the last minute, 2 hours before the draft, and gave me the general rules of the league: 12 team, half PPR, etc. Not until after the draft did anyone tell me that in this league, you're only allowed 2 transactions per week and 3 trades during the entire season. My questions are: 1, are these rules stupid? And 2, should I have been told this before asking me to join the league?
Well, 1, I don't know if these rules are that stupid. I think some leagues that I've played in, not typically the ones that I'm super excited about, but leagues that I've played in, prefer, let me try to say this in the nicest way, prefer less involvement during the year. Some managers want to draft their team, have something to root for, but they don't want to be forced to really be into it every day of every week and really play it out in that sense. So there will be some leagues where you get people who prefer this. I don't prefer that. I'd rather be into it and play it out and give it my all. But some leagues prefer that. So they don't want trades and they don't want all these transactions. I'm in a league, fantasy baseball league with 10 transactions for the whole year and no trades for that exact reason. So I don't know if it's stupid. I think it's just preference for some people. But I will say this. It is terrible that they didn't tell you this before the draft. That has to be fully communicated to anyone who joins the league.
That they didn't tell him or he didn't ask? Because I think that's the question that he should have asked.
Oh, you shouldn't have to ask that.
I don't think you should have to ask when you're going that
limit. Like you just assume there isn't.
Well, yes, you're right. That specific stuff. I mean, I don't know. I would assume I play in the most leagues of the 3 of us here, and I've joined a couple this year where that's the first thing I ask. Okay, so just tell me what the rules are. You would hope that would come up in conversation. The transaction rules. I mean, think about what we're dealing with one league where there's IR spots and people are picking up a billion people, and I don't want to say abusing it. They're just, trying to figure out the right way to add and drop players. So there are some, formats where, transaction limits do make some sense, but think about it. Like you're the Travis Kelsey manager, you're the Cooper Cup manager. You've already had to probably make one transaction. Jonathan Taylor, Jeff Wilson, one transaction already in your league, whether it's putting somebody on IR or trying to find a replacement for a starter that you were hoping for. And now imagine that happens again on the weekend, or there's just somebody was dropped. Like I'm in one league where somebody dropped Van Jefferson because they had to make a transaction, and so like I'm gonna pick up Van Jefferson. We have deep benches; it doesn't make sense to leave him on the waiver wire. And so if I couldn't do that, like that would drive me nuts.
Yeah, of course. I don't. Yeah. All right. Let's go a little faster because we do have some news. We have some Jerry Jeudy news. We have some Ramondre Stevenson news. As Stevenson did not practice today for the Patriots. This is DJ Slater. Adam and Dan should do all of the combine drills for best athlete.
I'm down.
I'll win the agility ones, and he'll win the strength.
Never win the agility ones.
You think you're going to beat me in 40? You weigh 40 more pounds than me.
40 is not an agility drill.
Okay, the speed/agility drills. I will beat you
in a speed drill because you're 40 pounds lighter than me. But
yeah, I will.
Absurd considering we look almost the same from a skinniness standpoint. But you just have no muscle whatsoever on you. But agility drills, like that has nothing to do with deep speed, or it's like I will be a more agile athlete than you. I will jump higher than you.
I'm very agile
than you. And I don't want to bury that we are playing some sports. We're going to play basketball for sure because you think you're good at that. I'm not even good at basketball. I just know I can back you down every single play, and I'll just out physical you. And any sport like that, we'll play some football drills. We'll have an automatic quarterback. Maybe Jamie will come up and play auto QB for us. We're going to figure it out, but it's happening next year for sure. Right around the time.
Did I say let's go quicker here? Let's go Dotson, Deontay, or Damian Pierce in PPR?
Dotson.
Dotson for me as well.
Chig, Everett, or Ferguson?
Chig, who? Everett or Ferguson? Ferguson. First Giants.
From Dirt Beach, I have Tua and Jordan Love. Should I drop Love for Sam Howell?
I would rather Love.
Personally. I would rather have Howell, and I would certainly rather have Howell this week if there is no Watson. I mean, think about this. They're dealing with injuries right now. Like,
true.
Granted, so Terry McLaurin was also banged up, so take that into account. But it just feels like, my gosh, can you trust Jordan Love if he doesn't have any of those guys?
I think
no, he's got Tua this week, so he doesn't need to start him. It's just a stash.
Yeah, it's a stash for rest of season.
I think Howell's rushing will surprise a lot of people if he does it.
Howell, I think that could be the case. I'm a little concerned with Howell not translating what we saw in the preseason to the regular season because we've seen that with a lot of these, not as, I should say, ballyhooed or talented quarterbacks at the NFL level. We'll see, and that schedule is really tough. I can see a lot of 150-yard passing games coming out of Washington.
That's fair.
All right, this is a PPR league. James Cook or Miles Sanders?
Sanders.
I'm going with Cook. I know the matchup sucks, but if I draft Cook, I want him on the field for the first game. I have just very high expectations for what he can do within that offense this year, especially if this league's PPR or half PPR.
It's PPR. This is from a sad Detroit sports fan. Oh,
what?
Those shouldn't exist right now.
Why should those not exist right now?
They just beat the Chiefs
last night.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, but there's been years of misery, so obviously just one win isn't going to totally make up for that.
It should. A sad Detroit sports fan is in a 10-team, 3-receiver PPR dynasty startup salary cap league. And he has Jefferson, Hill, Diggs, and Higgins, plus Geno, Dobbins, and Mostert, and Kyle Pitts. Did you think he structured his team properly, going all in on wide receiver? Jefferson, Hill, Diggs, and Higgins in a startup dynasty league, 10 teams.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, good job. This is from BB Baseball. Ranking of analysts and hosts by humor level. 1, Heath. Dry humor, sarcasm specialist, keeps Adam in check. 2, Dan. Nerdy, witty humor, also keeps Adam in check. 3, Adam. Everyman humor, a bit of an absurdist. 4, Dave. Dad humor, self-deprecating, great at accepting jokes on himself. Jamie was actually left off the list. He was left off the list. That's so insulting. That's insulting.
Wow.
Dan is not funny to me.
I'm not what?
You're not funnier than I am. That's ridiculous. If there was a combine for that, I would destroy you in that.
Adam, there's only one person on this list who had the word witty attached to their breakdown, and that was me. So let's just keep that in mind.
So what do you even come up with a team name?
I don't need to. I use my resources, my funny resources, toward other things like keeping you in check.
Okay, I'm very much looking forward to seeing those things. From Lindsay Wolf says, Dan Schneider gives the best advice about streaming kickers.
Wow, this is unreal. This is a great show for me so far.
You did give good advice on that. What was it again?
Thank you. So for streaming kickers, what you want to target are two things. You want to target the teams with the teams that are at home. You want home kickers, first of all. And the second thing you want is home kickers with a big spread. So if the team has a 9-point, they're 9-point favorites or 8-point favorites. Those are the kickers you want to target.
Okay. We got some news and notes on the other side of the break. We will be right back on Fantasy Football Today. So a couple news items here. And we're recording this mailbag a lot earlier than we usually do, so we don't have all the practice reports. Hopefully we'll get them throughout the afternoon. But Ramondre Stevenson did not practice, and Jerry Jeudy said it is his decision whether he plays this weekend against the Raiders. Jamie, what do you think about the Patriots right now if Stevenson's questionable?
He didn't practice today?
Correct.
There'd be no Patriots I'd want to play.
What about Zeke?
There'd be no Patriots I'd want to play.
Okay.
Zeke would be a flex at best.
I could see flexing Zeke, but it is never a good sign when somebody pops up on Friday of the injury report with a do not practice, at least as far as their availability for this week goes. So I think you could be looking at it, but I think what Jamie's maybe saying, I don't want to put words in your mouth, Jamie, but I'm not sure if this is your opinion on this. But even if Stevenson doesn't play, we're not sure that Elliott is going to be this bell cow in that backfield.
No, I think he will be the bell cow, but you're talking about him being the bell cow.
Like every touch already.
What'd you say, Dan?
I'm curious if you guys think he's going to get every touch right away if Ramondre misses. Knowing the Patriots, I just can't see that happening.
They have the worst running back depth behind Stevenson. So I think you probably get.
We don't expecting.
I think you get 15 touches.
Yeah. Okay. 15 is fine.
All right. You mentioned a fantasy baseball league.
Yeah.
I was wondering if I could briefly tell what happened in my fantasy baseball league.
You're not talking about the one you quit as commissioner.
No, I was in a 16-team league. Somehow I had Ronald Acuna and didn't make the playoffs.
Oof.
My 16-team league was decided, the championship round, the guy won by like 0.13 fantasy points.
Oof.
And it came down, I believe, to the final inning of the Sunday night baseball game.
That's awesome.
Wow. And if Jordan Alvarez had struck out, the guy would have lost a half a point and he would have lost. But I think he grounded out, which is 0 points.
Out non-strikeout. That is epic right there.
Isn't that cool?
That's what we play for.
Exactly. Yeah, another thing that we play for is the Fantasy Cops. We got a busy... I got a lot of cases on my desk today, guys. A lot of paperwork. Let's start with Matt. Our fantasy football commissioner likes to say he, quote, rules with an iron fist. That is not hyperbole. It is a direct quote. Every year, about a week before the draft, he comes up with some non-traditional scoring change. Things like negative points for field goal misses, defensive points for a fourth down stop. Changes we are typically used to. Whatever they are, we just roll with it because even if we protested, it wouldn't matter. He really isn't a commissioner. He's a dictator, and he's proud of the way he runs the league. This year, his scoring wrinkle was points for kick and punt returns. It was billed to us as 0.25 points per return yards. So 4 return yards would get you 1 point. But what he actually did was set the scoring to 0.25 yards per point. So 1 return yard gets you 4 points.
Oh my God.
I don't think I need to explain to you why this is a problem. Full disclosure, I did notice this mistake the day after the draft. It was kind of a dead giveaway when the top player on waivers was Ray McLeod. I chose not to notify the commissioner as he's made it known to the league how our opinion doesn't matter. The rest of the league picked up on the mistake during the second quarter of the Chiefs-Lions game, and our dictator quickly removed all return yard scoring. My question for you and the podcast is, do we finally revolt and overthrow our commissioner/dictator?
If everybody agrees, then you probably should.
I kind of feel like this is harmless fun for the most part. Like, he removed the points, right? He realized he made a mistake here with the scoring. He wanted to just have fun and add, like, okay, I add something quirky every year. Like, I'm a commissioner in one league, and one of the funny things about it is I'm known as the opposite kind of that. People want me to iron fist some rules in because instead I'm very
it's so funny. That is funny. You are very funny.
That's what they want. They want more iron fist personal Adam. We're not doing that. We're not doing this bit every day, okay? Right? For all your dad jokes. We need that for all your dad jokes too. The Seinfeld laugh track. All right. Yeah. But and I'm the opposite. I like to have everything go by a vote, and then it turns into a whole debate and a back and forth on email, and people are going off on each other. And that was not really the best process either. So I don't hate the idea of a commissioner just being like, we're throwing in rules, but obviously he made a mistake here and made the point scoring too much and fixed it since. But okay. I don't know. If you guys don't enjoy it, obviously, then that's a different viewpoint as well.
This one is from David.
Wait, hold on though. But what if people drafted based on the rule?
Oh yeah, well I don't think anyone really knew the rule, so I think it's harmless in this situation. But if people did draft based on the rule,
they knew the rule, they just didn't realize that the scoring was screwed up.
Yeah, that's true. So they did draft. Yeah,
problem.
You know what he needs to do is get it to the right setting, where return yards are 4 yards for 1 point. That's what he has to do. Now, do you overthrow him? I don't think you overthrow him, but yeah, you just got to accept it. You're living in a dictatorship.
But if all 11 people want him out as the commissioner, then that's fine. Then
fine.
Somebody wants to step up and do it, then that's fine.
Adam's been trying to Oscar music us off for the last 4 seconds.
Next up, from David, is it ever appropriate to veto? And is it part of a commissioner's responsibility to protect newbie players from experienced players as they circle the new guy like hungry sharks in the water? We had a situation in our league where a novice manager took 0 RB to the extreme. He didn't know how to pull it off. He just read a few articles preaching 0 RB. And he only drafted Jamal Williams, Samaje Perine, and Rashawn Johnson. A savvy manager in our league traded him 3 dead zone running backs, Kamara, Javonte, and Khalil Herbert, for Jamar Chase and Jerry Jeudy. The savvy manager already had Justin Jefferson and Mahomes. Now he has Chase and Jeudy too. He's got a juggernaut. I'm the commissioner of the league, and several managers were telling me I needed to veto it. But the way I looked at it was it gave the novice manager 3 starting running backs, Kamara, Javonte, and Khalil Herbert. The novice manager still has Olave, Garrett Wilson, Dotson, etc. I feel like he can field a competitive team now. Clearly, the savvy owner or manager got Chase and received the best player in the trade. Should I overturn the deal or let it stand?
You should definitely let this one stand, according to me. I'm not a big believer in vetoes in general. And as far as the first question goes, like, what do you do about newbie managers? You have to let them live and learn, in my mind, and they have to play out fantasy and learn from their mistakes. If you go to a poker table in Las Vegas right now, or wherever you play poker, and there's a newbie fish at the table, do you think that other players are being like, no, man, you should play this hand like this, or like, no, I have the nuts here. Don't call me. Don't call me. Or like, that's not how it works. You have to live and learn. You have to play out the game and get better at it. And so he tried something, 0 RB. Maybe he didn't like how it played out and he had regrets. And in the end, he gets 3 guys, like you said, who can start or at least can play and are going to get some touches. And he gives up the best player in the deal. It's obviously not great, but now he can feel a little bit better about his team. And that's something he goes into next year saying, I'll never do that again, right? I'll never leave my draft with running backs that bad again.
Yeah, I mean, look, if Schneier goes to play pickup basketball, they're not going to say, no, just leave him open, let him shoot, right? I mean, they're going to cover him. They're going to let him learn and try to get better that way.
I would probably let him shoot.
They don't veto the trade. Let it stand. This is from Patrick. We have an issue in our dynasty league. There's a league member that knows he's not going to be able to compete at a higher level, but doesn't just want to win 4 games and get a middle round pick in the rookie draft. There are other teams that are pretty bad and could get better spots. So to combat this manager is benching some of his better players. Our commissioner took note of this and told him he wasn't happy about it and was going to look for a way into implementing a rule to keep it from happening day of the start of the season. LOL. So anyway, this is a common question. What do you do about teams tanking in dynasty leagues?
So one way that one league I'm in combats it is, and I think you can only do this on some of the apps, is you take the best ball score of a team and you and that's the draft. Draft order is determined by first or last to first in best ball scoring. So no matter what, if you want to bench your good guys or start your good guys, it doesn't matter. You're getting the score, the best score you would get that week for whoever's on your roster. That's one way to do it. In managed leagues, I'm not sure that's even an option. In managed leagues, I personally think you should let people tank however they want, as long as they're starting somebody who is in the NFL and playing on that week. I just think that's part of Dynasty to me, but I know other people have a stronger opinion on the opposite side of that.
I think what you said there matters because I like the way Heath does it with the Dynasty League that we're in, where you have to at least be starting somebody who's playing. So it can't be somebody who's inactive, can't be somebody who's just on a roster. It has to be somebody who's actually playing. So I'm in a situation where I took over a Dynasty League. I cut the entire roster. Basically, I have an entire roster basically of rookies and a few guys that matter. And I'm trying to lose. I'm trying to get, the chance to draft, hopefully Marvin Harrison and continue the rebuild process. But I am starting players that are actually there.
Yeah, I'm looking at one of our teams in our Bake Burger Dynasty League, Tim Stafford, who is going for the first pick in the draft. He's going for Caleb Williams at Superflex. He's starting CJ Stroud, Rashawn Johnson, Kenneth Gainwell, Josh Downs, Cedric Tillman, Chigo Conquo, Irv Smith, Deuce Vaughn, Juwan Johnson, and Derek Carr. He is benching CeeDee Lamb, DK Metcalf, Tua, Traylon Burks, George Kittle, Mike Evans are on the bench.
Or on his bench.
Yeah.
Oh, he really is going for this.
Oh, yeah. No, he's going and whatever, or he's going to try. So
it's an interesting strategy in a startup where everybody had the same level playing field.
Yeah, he's going for next year. He wants to have a juggernaut, hopefully, for next year. We'll see how it works. This is actually the most experienced Dynasty player in the league.
He must have also I think he was also making trades in draft for future picks, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yep. Okay, let's go to Mike from Montgomery, New Jersey. How do you feel about Montgomery, New Jersey, then?
Considering I've never heard of it, my guess is it's South Jersey. We don't, up here in North Jersey, we don't really take as kindly to the South Jersey people.
Last night, I bid $2 on the Commanders' defense. So did someone else. And that other manager got the Commanders' defense, but I should have, because I drafted 9th and the other manager drafted 1st. It's an offline draft, and the commissioner forgot to set waiver priority for tiebreakers, which always starts the season as reverse draft order. Should I be given the DST? The other manager and the commissioner said submit it to the fantasy cops, and if I get a reply in my favor by Sunday, they'll reverse it.
Reverse it.
Yeah, reverse it, but also get with the times, guys. I mean, we don't need waivers that are reverse order of the draft. Like, put in a budget, give everybody the budget to work with.
They have a budget. They did the budget. You weren't listening.
The tiebreaker for budgets is always record or.
That's why. Okay, then I take it back. I missed that part of that. I was listening, Adam.
Observation about New Jersey, by the way.
Hold on.
New Jersey is just a collection of towns that I have no idea where they are.
Okay.
There's no continuity. It's just like, oh, you live in this place in New Jersey? I have zero idea where you live. That's everywhere in New Jersey.
It's a very, condensed area with a lot of towns. And you got, what comes with that, Adam? You don't have to drive a million hours to get to places like you do in Florida. Okay. And let me just say this about the mistake I just made. The tiebreak shouldn't be the rolling draft order either. To avoid tiebreaks, give $1,000 budget instead of $100 budget. That's what we do in our league. And so it's much harder to tie on the bid.
Okay, fine. Zach Moss practicing again. Jamie, your reaction?
If he plays, he's the best Colts running back to me, which is not saying very much. So still at best a flex.
Yeah. And that's like saying the best athlete among Adam and Dan. Let's read some emails. Fantasy football.
You're going to be so embarrassed next summer.
Okay. I have a whole year to train.
So do I.
You're not going to train.
I'm going to take this a lot more seriously than you do. If I get out athlete by you, that could be the end of my life, let alone career, let alone life.
Who's Wisconsin got this week?
That far. What'd you say?
Who's Wisconsin got this week?
Wisconsin this week has Washington State, I believe.
Big fan. Don't even know they're playing.
No, I know they're playing one of those Pac-12 teams they lost to last year. I think it's Wazoo. I wasn't really thrilled with week 1 of the air raid for Wisconsin. I think we have a long way to go in trying to make that conversion.
Yeah, no, the most important thing for Wisconsin is knowing the opponent they're playing. So let's go to our emails, fantasyfootball at CBS. It's fantasyfootball at CBSI.com. This is actually a very funny greeting from Peter. Dear blank, blank, and blank. Those are usable Chiefs wide receivers. Who to start in a full PPR flex? Breece Hall, Khalil Herbert, or Brandon Cooks?
Herbert.
PPR flex. Yeah, I'll go Herbert. I think Cooks could have a good. No, what the hell, bad guy? It was Washington State. I'm not a fake fan confirmed. I was just correct, and I just didn't have the confidence level that I should have had. Okay.
Okay.
But it is Herbert.
From Joshua. This is my first year playing fantasy football. I've wanted to for a while. Your YouTube channel has been one of my main resources. All right. Welcome, Joshua. That's great. 10-team PPR redraft league. I'm seriously considering trading Cooper Kupp. Would you trade Kupp and Cam Akers for Terry McLaurin and Alvin Kamara?
No.
He still has
probably not enough.
Amon-Ra St. Brown, Amari Cooper, and Jerry Jeudy. And he has Dijon. Okay.
Yeah, it's probably not enough.
If Kupp is right, he's arguably the best receiver in fantasy still.
Okay, we've got an email from Trace. No, first from Michael. 2 QB league, Ryan Tannehill or Jordan Love?
I am a Tannehill guy.
Love week, are we? If his receivers are healthy.
We're talking for this week or
no, this week.
Oh, this week. Then it's even more so Tannehill for me. I just think with the injuries for the Packers, it's going to be a tough week.
This is from Trace now. Dear Will, Jack, Hector, and Davey. I'll give you a hint. Will, Jack, Hector, and Davey. This is a ride at Disney and a movie.
Never been to Disney.
One more time.
Will, Jack, Hector, and Davey.
So happy I never had to go to Disney as a kid.
Yo ho, yo ho. Pirates of the
Bottle of rum, da da dun dun. Right?
Yep, you nailed it. PPR.
Something with a bottle of rum in there. I know that.
Yo ho ho and a bottle of rum, but this is yo ho, a Pirate's life for me. It's Pirates.
Oh, definitely different.
It's a trade here in a PPR league. Give up Mark Andrews for Kyle Pitts and Damian Pierce.
I think Andrews it's a super weak at running back.
Andrews for Pitts and Pierce. He has Pollard, Bijan, James Cook, Jalen Warren, and Bigsby at running back.
I wouldn't do that then.
You're getting Pierce along with those guys, or you're giving up Pierce because you have those guys?
No, you're getting Pitts and Pierce. You're giving up Mark Andrews.
And you have Pollard and all those other running backs?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I don't know if I would do that, but I think in a vacuum, that trade is fair because Pierce and Andrews weren't being drafted that much farther apart. And if Pitts hits, he's potentially close to Andrews in production. I don't think it's going to happen, but it could.
Right.
Yeah.
This is from John. Would you start Dobbins or Michael Thomas in PPR?
Dobbins. That question, you don't even need to get Jamie's answer for that. We already know.
This is from Dan. Hey, Adam and friends. I have no idea who he's referring to. Would you trade away A.J. Brown and James Cook for Garrett Wilson and J.K. Dobbins?
Yes.
Yeah, I really like that trade for the Garrett Wilson Dobbins side.
Yeah, I think Jamie would do it for just Dobbins.
Throw in Sky Moore too.
Yeah, there you go. This is from Brian. Dear Hunter, Sean, Badass, and Road Dog.
X-Pac, what do they call themselves?
Oh, D-Generation X?
D-Generation X, yeah. X-Pac was the other X, right?
Is that what that is?
Good job. Yes, it is.
Wow. All right.
Who would you start this week? Marquise Brown, JSN, Nico Collins, or Elijah Moore? It's standard scoring. Marquise Brown, JSN, Nico Collins, Elijah Moore.
Didn't you ask a very similar question on the show Friday morning?
Maybe.
I think you did. You posed it.
It would be.
I would start Elijah.
It would be either Moore or Nico Collins for me, for sure. I think Nico has a good chance to get volume right away. I think Moore also has a good chance to get volume right away, especially if they're using him like they used him in the preseason. That really excites me. So I'm just going to chase the projected volume here, and I'd like those two over the rest for sure on a volume standpoint.
Yeah, JSN would be the second guy for me.
This is from Trevor. Deontay Johnson or Juju, Freiermuth or Ferguson?
Both Steelers.
And Lawrence or Richardson, 4-point per passing touchdown. Lawrence.
But if you do want to split up the Steelers, I would go Deontay and Ferguson.
Okay. This is Joe from Boston. Need 2 running backs, half PPR. Rashad White, Zeke, Akers, Khalil Herbert, Antonio Gibson. Half PPR. Pick 2. Rashad White, Zeke, Akers, Herbert, Gibson.
White is the easy one. And I would probably go with Gibson.
I'm on White and Herbert from that group.
And you should start Ridley in your flex over the other running backs, Joe. This is from Brian. Pick 1 in PPR. Higbee, James Cook, Flowers.
James Cook for me for sure.
From Matt, Damian Pierce or Rashad White?
White.
I'm going to go Damian Pierce there.
This is from Nathan for you, or just Nathan. That's a throw a Nathan for you reference in there for Dan.
I'm surprised you saw that show. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe me. I know a lot.
You look a lot like him, people say, right?
I don't look like him. Come on.
No, the problem with the Nathan for you Adam comps is like Adam's voice is just 17 decibels higher than Nathan's voice. So it's just, you can't really ever make that comp for that reason.
I want him to do stand up. He's so funny.
It would be.
All right. 2 running backs, 2 receivers. What'd you say?
Have you ever done stand up?
Yeah.
I knew the answer to that was going to be yes.
I've not done stand up.
Okay. You strike me as the type of guy who has done the stand up, gotten all his friends out to the comedy club. Like, I don't know why. I feel like
I have somewhat of a stand up routine in my head.
That one day you'll get to.
If I ever get called up on stage at the Improv or something, it's about how lazy we've become. That like you have keyless ignition in your car, but God forbid you had to rent a car and you had to actually put a key in the ignition and turn it. You're like, are you freaking kidding me? Of course, I'd be cursing and stuff. And then like you go to use your credit card at a store, and like back in the day we used to have to swipe our credit card. Then we got to just insert it in. Now I can just tap. I can just hold it over the reader. Can you imagine if I had to insert my credit card again? I have this whole routine about how lazy we become.
It sounds like it has some legs to it, but it also sounds like it's just a total knockoff of Jerry Seinfeld. So I'm not quite sure where to stand on this.
I don't see that. I don't see it. I think
you know what would be funny?
I'm only kidding.
You're not doing stand up.
Him not doing stand up.
How do you find Will Smith in the snow? You look for the Fresh Prince.
You look for the what?
The Fresh Prince.
Oh, the Fresh Prince.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I guess that was a joke.
It was. A joke.
Looks like no John Mechie.
Okay. This is so the question from Nathan from long ago. 2 running backs, 2 receivers, and a flex PPR. Barkley, yes. So give me one more running back. Rashad White, Khalil Herbert, Damian Pierce.
Rashad White.
I'm sticking with Pierce.
Give me 2 receivers.
Good news.
What's the good news?
Armstead going through workouts today. See if he can play.
Oh, Taron Armstead. Nice. That's huge for Dolphins.
So are you really asking me Tyreek Hill, AJ Brown, Chris Godwin? Come on, Nathan. You're going Brown and Hill.
Yeah.
So we have.
Is that his fault for asking or your fault for reading?
Mine.
Fault for not filtering out
Pick a flex. Wait, who is the running back you chose? Rashad White, Herbert, Pierce.
We were split. I was Pierce and Jamie was White.
White.
Okay, so then you can go either White or Pierce or Herbert or Dotson or Godwin at PPR flex.
I put Dotson there.
Dotson.
It would be funny. This is from the chat. If you guys actually hit on some of your predictions, that would be funny.
Oh, look at you over there.
I predict we're going to block you.
That was a big tough guy comment over there from the YouTube section.
Yeah, come on, Josh Reynolds. Huh?
Yeah. About Christian Watson last year for me.
Yeah. It's only that. All right. So whatever Dan says, just wait until week 9.
Yeah, I didn't say it was going to happen right away in week 1, but whoever drafted him was definitely happy they did.
Not really, because I guarantee they dropped him, but it was a good prediction on your part. I know you're very high at him. This is from Michael. Start 2.5 PPR. Christian Watson, Jahan Dotson, Christian Kirk, Rashad White.
If Watson plays, Watson and Dotson. If Watson doesn't play, it's Dotson and Cook.
Kirk, you said, right? Yeah, I think Kirk for me is definitely in my lineup no matter how I do this. I would be Watson and Kirk if Watson plays, but other than that, I can do Kirk and Dotson. But I got to keep – I think that whole Jaguars offense is going to have a really good, fun first game.
What about Watson and Crick?
Watson and what?
Watson and Crick.
Is that a TV show or a movie?
No, those cheesy jokes are just in my DNA. They're scientists. They discovered DNA, I think. And
it's a really random reference.
Well, you said Watson and Cook, Watson and Kirk.
So. Like, how do you know the people who discovered DNA? That's just surprising.
I went to school.
You don't learn that. That's not like something you learn.
Joseph Osai will not play.
Okay, that's Bengals pass rusher. Bengals are not playing the Ravens this week. This last one is from LT. Yo, Drew, Chris, and Brooke. Drew is spelled J-R-U-E.
Drew Holiday.
K-H-R-I-S.
Chris Middleton. Drew Holiday and Brooke Lopez. I got the Milwaukee Bucks, baby. Let's go, Adam.
I need 2.5 PPR. Mike Evans, Christian Kirk, or Raheem Mostert. I'm sitting Evans.
Yeah, I'm going Kirk and Mostert.
Yep.
When we come back, we'll finish the show with your YouTube questions. Submit them. YouTube questions. Go for it. We'll be right back on Fantasy Football Today. Schneier, by the way, I want to thank Dan Schneier in all seriousness for working on his day off. He has Fridays off, but he's decided he's going to do the mailbag with us almost every Friday, which is really cool. We're going to do it a little bit early next week, too, so we won't have all the injury reports. But I think going forward, we should probably try to start maybe around 12:30 or something, so we have more news to cover and update everybody. So we'll do that. But this week it was 11:30 a.m. on Friday. Next week it's going to be the same thing. Let's see what we have in YouTube.
Right, Adam?
What'd you say?
A little earlier next week. 11, I think, was what we were doing for next week.
11? Oh, all right, 11.
Yeah.
All right, that's fine. Daniel Jones or Tua, week 1?
Tua,
yeah. Daniel Jones. Jamie obviously brought up on a previous podcast, if you guys missed it, Daniel Jones has a really bad history against the Cowboys, so you don't want to chase that. See, there's a different way to go about it, though. I like when Jamie breaks down, Daniel Jones. It's always fair. It's always objective. When Heath gets into Daniel Jones,
that's ridiculous.
It feels like there's something behind it,
Yeah, it's me.
It's you, but it feels a little different for some reason. Like the other day, you were like, here, let's talk about fantasy players we haven't talked about. And like, I think it's fair to talk about Daniel Jones at that point, right? Like he's a fringe QB1. Some people are excited about his rushing upside. He's like, no, we're done with this. And he barreled it down into the point where you just like moved on to the next player. I feel like you just got got barreled down on that one, Adam.
Whenever you hear Heath talk about how much he doesn't like Daniel Jones, just replace Daniel Jones with Adam Azer. It's okay. Like it's so
That's
personal. Yeah, basically.
The funny thing is he likes Daniel Jones this week. The week that you're not supposed to like him, he likes him.
Yeah, I'm surprised by that too. I did hear him say Jones over somebody. I forgot who.
Yeah, look, it's a bad matchup, but his history against Dallas doesn't really bother me because his history in general is just really bad. So if Daniel Jones is good, then then I don't really
take
care.
That next step. You're saying it doesn't matter. I think my prediction as a fan is this is not going to be the week for the offense to take off. I think the Giants offense will take a step forward in 2023, not this week at all against that front.
Well, it's also not just the long-term history. You look at the 2 games last year with Brian Daboll. If you want to just go what did he do versus this team and this defense with a good system? Granted, Darren Waller wasn't there, but track record does matter.
Oh, well, he got pummeled in that week 3 game.
And that's what I'm worried about that game, the pass rush.
Heath is right. Now we actually are talking too much about him. Deontay Johnson, Juju, or Dobbs if Watson's out?
Dobbs if Watson's out.
Deontay for me.
Would you trade Dalvin Cook for Alvin Kamara?
In a second.
Heartbeat as well for me. I like Kamara as an asset this year.
James Cook or Antonio Gibson, half PPR?
Cook for me.
I'll go Gibson.
Rank these guys: Tua, Geno, Lawrence.
Lawrence, Tua, Geno.
I'm going to go Lawrence, Geno, Tua.
What should we do about the New England running backs?
Cry if Stevenson doesn't play.
If Stevenson's out, I still think you can flex Zeke. It's just don't be too excited about that.
I think that you should.
What?
Do you have him in the Dynasty League, Bake Burgers?
Who?
Jamie.
Stevenson?
Yeah.
No, I have terrible running backs there.
Okay. And we're playing this week. So I hope I win. I need 2 starters, 14 teams, PPR. DJ Moore, Tyler Lockett, Dotson, Deontay.
Moore and definitely
more Lockett for me.
I was into Lockett or Dotson. I can go Lockett there. I'm excited about Seahawks pass offense in week 1 against the Rams. Whatever's left of that secondary.
Who are you sitting? Miles Sanders, J.K. Dobbins, or Alexander Madison?
Sanders for me.
Sanders.
I'm sitting.
Thielen was back at practice today.
Oh, all right. I'm
sitting
sitting
Madison.
I'm sitting Madison. I'll start Sanders over Madison.
You play Sanders over Madison?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, they're pretty similar. They had,
Well, I think one's on a good offense. The other's on a probably bad offense.
Yeah. I'm just not sure. Yeah. Yeah, they're very close.
Okay. Andrew Callahan, who covers the Patriots for the Boston Herald, says that Stevenson's absence is, quote, puzzling.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. I read
might
that.
not be injury related.
Oh.
Okay.
So we got to wait
would
on.
you drop Justin Ross for Pierre Strong?
It's probably too late to do that, but I would not.
I don't have much interest in Pierre Strong. I also don't have much interest in Justin Ross either, though, for fantasy.
DJ Moore, Van Jefferson, or Javonte Williams?
Javonte Williams. Or no, I'm sorry, DJ Moore. I missed him.
Van Jefferson does not belong in the conversation with those.
Yeah, that's what confused me, but I'll go Moore.
Moore as well.
I did this one. Sorry. Can Adam grow a beard? No, I can't.
No, actually, he can, and I don't know why he doesn't grow it out. Because when he does it, it comes in pretty full. Like I have this,
I can't
up here. Like
what? That's as full. That's as full as it gets. Like,
I've seen you with the shadow. It looks pretty good. If I were you, I'd give it a shot and see what happens.
The thing is, like, if you committed to it, it would be done in half an hour.
Yeah, this is it. I shaved before the mailbag.
And by the way, have you noticed that Jamie's hair now has grown back completely fine after he buzzed the thing you were so scared to do? Buzz 3 lines into the side of your head. Oh, I can't do it. My wife's on an important call at 10:30 at night.
She was. It was true. By the way, the draftathon ended at 10, so it wasn't 10:30. It was like 9:15. Why so low on Hollywood Brown? Should be number 1 wide receiver on a team playing from behind. Washington has no lockdown cornerbacks.
They have a very good defense. The pass rush will be a problem for whoever's starting there, and good luck figuring out whoever's starting there and if they're any good. So Josh Dobbs, Clayton Tune. Not good for Hollywood Brown.
Yeah, Jamie nailed it. You can't have confidence in the Cardinals' offensive line given what they've done, and you can't have confidence in the quarterback throwing the ball downfield. So how does Hollywood Brown get his touches or his yards or his touchdowns? I don't know.
Jahan Dotson or DJ Moore?
More. Plus, Washington drafted a first-round corner this year, so we'll see what happens there.
That's true, they did, yeah. Someone just dropped Kamara in a half PPR 12-team league. How much fab for Kamara?
Oh, my God, 12-team league.
50% at least.
I don't really understand why anyone would have dropped Kamara that drafted Kamara. This is a wild league, but I'm going 65%. I don't think I'm going to get a better free agent all year. I might go.
Is justifiable.
Would you say 80?
I think it's justifiable.
Yeah.
I don't love doing that. You're really at the mercy of Kamara.
I don't hate it.
But I think it's justifiable.
There won't be a better free agent this entire year.
Godwin or Lockett, half PPR?
Lockett,
yeah.
Ayuk, Addison, or Gibson?
Gibson.
Just given the matchups, I think Gibson makes the most sense there, too.
Okay. Let's see.
What do you think about Addison? And what do you guys think about Addison for week 1? I think he might have a little bit of sneaky flex appeal for me.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think, we were talking about this on Thursday's show that sometimes with the rookies in week 1, you want to be a little cautious. And Jahmyr Gibbs clearly proved that, how much work will they get despite the situation, despite what we love. I said really I like 2.5 rookies for this week. Gibbs was one of them, but it was Gibbs, Bijan, and Addison was the half, just because I think the matchup is good. Like you said, there's some sneaky flex appeal, but how much is he going to play over KJ Osborne in week 1?
Right.
And then is it just he has to work his way into it? We see it all the time. Second half of the season is when those guys tend to take off. And so not bad for this week, but not must start in my opinion.
Okay.
I'm just going to read a few more here. Thoughts on Tyler Conklin for the Jets?
I have none. Not a safe start yet. Could become a potential waiver wire guy.
Yeah. Wait on that one.
Deontay Johnson, James Cook, or Brandon Ayuk? PPR.
Deontay.
It's going to be Cook for me.
Any thought on Marl Andrews?
I think that's Mark Andrews. Any thoughts on him? I just think he's probably fine. I mean, he came back to practice this week. They said, let's not go. When it first happened, Harbaugh was like, don't go crazy over this. It's not a major injury. So I think you just treat it as normal.
He starts, you start him.
Yeah.
Pick up Jake Ferguson or Luke Musgrave.
Ferguson.
I'm going to go with Musgrave. I've been on Musgrave train all draft season. I finally have to start using actual draft capital to get him. I was able to get him last round every draft for a while, but just believe in the talent, believe in the role. He played every first team snap with Jordan Love in the preseason. He's getting open constantly. The ball didn't always go his way. I think he's a credible talent. I want to be in on it. I think he has breakout potential.
Last one, buy or sell. Happy Gilmore is better than Billy Madison.
Great one from Dave Berry here. I am going to buy.
Sell.
Oh, you're selling. You have Billy Madison over Happy Gilmore.
Yeah.
I would too, yeah.
I have Happy Gilmore as the one. Those are they're in the elite tier. Though I also, and I know I got a lot of crap from this from you, Adam, or maybe it was Adi. I also have Big Daddy in that tier. I think Big Daddy is an amazing movie. It's not as funny, but it's just so heartwarming and amazing and still has funny moments. But I know it's really not viewed properly.
No, it's more in the Burrow, Fields, Lamar Jackson tier.
I would just say that the best Adam Sandler movie is clearly the Water Boy, and I'm a little parched. So can we wrap this up because Vicky Valscore has very, very tasty H2O for me.
We can. So that's it for today's mailbag. Good luck, everybody. We have an update for you on Sunday morning with an 8 a.m. podcast. Thanks for watching and listening, everybody, and enjoy your weekend. And let's go Washington State.